Welcome to the Hour of Truth. The message will be brought to you by Minister D. Robertson. The ministry of the Hour of Truth mission statement is: we seek to improve the well-being of people in order to continue making a difference as inspired by the life of Jesus Christ. We not only preach the good news to people, but we also have programs that tackle crime, disease, ignorance, poverty, racial injustice. Our mission statement is based on Colossians, theologians, 5 verses 21 through 23, Colossians chapter 1 verses 6 through 8. I'm going to start out with a little story today. The Lord prop us up. His name is Stir. Every time I am asked to pray, I think of the old deacons who always pray. Lord prop us up on our leaning sides. After hearing him pray that prayer made many times, someone asked him why he prayed that prayer so frequently. And he answered, well, sir, you see, it's like this. I am old barn out back. I have an old barn out back. It's been there a long time. It withstood a lot of weather. It's gone through a lot of storms, and it stood many years. It's still standing. But one day I noticed it was leaning to one side a bit. So I went and got some pine poles and propped it up on its leaning side so it wouldn't fall. Then I got to thinking about that and how much I was like an old barn. How much I was like an old barn. I've been around a long time. I withstood a lot of life storms. I withstood a lot of bad weather in life. I withstood a lot of hard times, and I'm still standing too. But I find myself leaning to one side from time to time. So I like to ask the Lord to prop us up on our leaning side. Because I figure a lot of us get to lean at times. Amen. Times we get to lean towards anger, leaning towards bitterness, leaning towards hatred, leaning towards cussing, leaning towards a lot of things that we shouldn't do. So we need to pray. Lord, prop us up on our leaning side so we will stand straight and tall again to glorify the Lord. If you stare at this barn for a second, you'll see who will help us stand straight and tall again. Pass this on to others who might need propping up, if you wish to. Amen. It's a prayer today, beautiful prayer. I asked God to take away my habits. God said, no, it's not for me to take away, but for you to give it up. I asked God to make my handicapped child whole. God said, no, his spirit is whole. His body is only temporary. I asked God to grant me patience. God said, no. It isn't granted. It is learned. I asked God to give me happiness. God said, no. I give you blessings. Happiness is up to you. I asked God to spare me pain. God said, no. I give you blessings. Happiness is up to you. I asked God to spare me pain. And God said, no. Suffering draws you apart from worldly cares and brings you closer to me. I asked God to make my spirits grow. God said, no. You must grow on your own. But I will prune you to make you fruitful. I asked God for the things that I might enjoy in life, and God said, no. I will give you life so that you may enjoy all things. I asked God to help me love others as much as he loves me. God said, aha, finally, you have the idea. This day is yours. Don't throw it away. May God bless you. The text today is, love make us do crazy things. So how's everybody feeling today? Let's all say it together. Kept by the power of God. So if you aren't feeling it, you will. God represents our conscious and unconscious thinking. Many people in this world worship Satan or the devil, but the shocking truth, people, God has dominion over that thought. When we love one another, it includes the good, the bad, and the ugly. Love has many meanings, and interpretations of it depends on the individual. The rational thing in this world is love. How many people practice saying, I love the creator of my personification or my personification? How many of you sacrifice yourself for the love of your child or your children at the mercy of the courts? How many of us use hate to express our feelings for people? The true meaning of love is hate because it ranks as high as 99.9%. People, believe it or not, we spend only 1% of our time trying to justify the wrongs of 99.9%. Why do we spend 99.9% of our time using irrational thinking? We have become a world that uses other people's faults to justify our own iniquities. We need to post a child or a person to promote discrimination of deception and deceit. Is love deception and deceit to show a person that you love them even in through their addictions? Is love what wakes you up in the morning or night? Is love what protects you on the journey of your daily life? Is it love that makes the sun shine to feed the hungry souls? Is it love that promotes water to sustain life? Is it love that takes the people we love the most in the world? Does love light up our footsteps in the dark to protect us from the enemies within us? Does love permit us to develop our minds and promote unity among nations? Did love separate the lost tribes of Sabars? Have the tribes become more alienated with bitterness as a result of being separated from their loved ones? Is love something we practice temporarily to attain what we want? Is love something we take advantage of to gain control of people's feelings? Does love last temporarily or it lasts a lifetime? Is deception and deceit love? Is the conservation of equality love entwined with zero tolerance? Does love hide the winners and losers? Does love make you snitch on your own parents and siblings? Does a love of life prevail over death and turns to create a promise of death? Does love prepare us to die one day? How much love is enough for one person? How much money and wealth is enough to have to show your love monetarily? Can you love? Can you take love on your next voyage in life? How can I practice love that does not come with a manual to show me how to follow? What books and laws can show us how to instill love with instructions for one another daily? What laws of love will provide us with peace within to match the evil ones outside of us which work continually to steal our souls? Does love have a twin called hate that we embrace to show our love? How can we embrace the most rational thing in the world that sustains life after irrational thinking destroys our peace? So folks, what is love to you? How do you give it equally without bias? What does the separation of church and state has to do with love? Can I function as a human being without the love of moral and immoral of human beings? Can love be just a thought that can be mesmerized by the belief that turn us on or off at will. Just ponder that for a minute. Think about it and apply it. My next topic will be what may be ethically right for some may not be necessarily true for others. The topic is ethical and how it is applied to society. Most people may or may not agree with what I am about to say, but all I know is that God is everlasting. My calling is to preach the truth, so help me God. We live in a world where people seem to think that the mentally challenged, the mentally ill, and the children born into this world full of sin, that they are responsible for his or her own fate. What role does society play in setting the level or unlevel playing field? Can we imagine how the women of American slavery felt having their rights violated against their will, to be forced to give up their born and unborn children? Can you picture the slave masters, wives giving up their unborn or born children to provide the American way of life? Are we currently living in a world with an even-handed justice system that renders justice according to your ethnicity? We live in a world where the power of the land gets to choose when and what is acceptable to love outside your race with the approval of the whole body of the legislators in Washington, D.C. How long will it be before they ask you to abandon your interracial relationships for the American way of life? What part of the lawmaking decision is ethical for Americans at the voting poll and in Washington, D.C.? What part of life is lived applied to your opinion compared to the laws of man's deception or perception of what is morally, ethically is or not true for all races? We are now at war with Iraq and Afghanistan. Our own sons and daughters are being turned into serial killers, rapists, murderers that are returning home to be decorated with medals of honor and glory. How many would be on a sexual predator list and posted on the internet throughout the world? What was morally right when we infringed upon the liberal rights of the Turks and Iraqi families that were innocent victims of our infringement of our sons and daughters? What is ethically about the treatment of the prisoners of war at the Cuba-Guatemala Bay military facility and how the Supreme Court ruled in favor of King George Bush? What kind of Supreme Court of the land will promote justice under the symbol of democracy, that will allow their justice system to vote away the freedoms of rights of others that swore to uphold the laws of the land? What country would vote to give their president the right of absolute power over the sake of democracy? Could this power be to propel them above the laws of the land? We need to wake up before it's too late and realize that we are making and creating the oppressors and inflictors of the rich, and the lawmakers are crafting bills and legislation to suppress our votes and our voices. The independent elected official has more power during a deadlock than the vice president. The official is the Lone Ranger that represents the Jewish Americans. If we bring 2 million people from other countries and they break the laws, do we apply laws or scientific laws to punish them? America makes its living from selling, trading, stealing secrets that gives us the upper hand on the rest of the world. If immigration is what made this country great, So why are we really putting troops on the borders of America? Can we honestly screen the rich who enter illegally compared to the poor? Do we punish them by their country laws or the broken system of justice in America? Does Americanizing a person mean to reprogram or assimilate them without memory of his or her former country? Doesn't matter what country you are from, but what matters the most is that you realize